When I was grinding my 9 to 5, I thought I was doing everything right. I followed the script. I went to school, I got the degree, got the job, I climbed the ladder, and for a while, it worked. I had the job, I had the income, I had the respect, but honestly, I was exhausted. Every raise just raised the bar. Every paycheck went to bills. Every bonus disappeared into life. And the harder I worked, the faster the treadmill moved. I thought more income would buy freedom, but it really just bought a bigger cage. Because the system doesn't reward effort, it rewards ownership. It rewards the people who own the treadmill, not the ones running on it. The day I realized that, everything changed. I stopped working for money and started using money to buy freedom. My first step was not flashy. There was no crypto, there was no trading, just real estate. Because before you can build wealth, you need stability. When I bought my first duplex, I didn't have a big portfolio or investors behind me. All I had was a small down payment and a plan. It was called the 1% rule. That meant that the property had to rent for at least 1% of its purchase price each month. So if it cost $200,000, I needed around $2,000 in rent. And that simple rule kept me safe. It forced discipline. It meant the property had to pay me from day one. I managed my own units, fixed what I could, and learned what I couldn't. And slowly, the rent checks started coming, month after month. Now, once that property appreciated, I refinanced it. I pulled the equity out tax-free and used it to buy the next one. One duplex became 2, and then 3. I didn't need to save new money. You see, I just recycled the same dollars over and over. By 2021, I saw what was coming. The bubble, the froth, the hysteria. So I sold my entire portfolio. I locked in profits while others were over-leveraged. Real estate gave me my first taste of control. And not just financial control, but emotional control. I could breathe. I wasn't dependent on a paycheck anymore. That's rule number 1. Buy stability. Start with something real, something that pays you while you sleep. After real estate, I wanted my money to keep working, even when I wasn't. And that's when I discovered private lending. Now, private lending isn't just for banks. You can lend money directly to real people, secured by real property. There are 2 main types of positions, first and second. A first position mortgage means your name is first on the title. If anything goes wrong, you're the first one paid, before anyone else. A second position mortgage comes after that. It carries more risk, but also more reward. Now, I started with first position mortgages only. They're conservative, fully secured, 10% annualized returns paid monthly with post-dated checks. And later, I took a few second positions. A bit higher risk, but also higher return, up to 17% annualized. Every deal had structure. I wasn't throwing money into the wind. My name was literally on title. I had legal security. And that's what people miss. Lending is not about greed. It's about control. You decide the terms, the rate, the collateral. You're not reacting to markets. You're dictating them. And that's rule number 2. Buy yield. Create income streams that pay you first and worry about growth later. Now, after completing steps 1 and 2, it got to the point where the income I was producing from my real estate portfolio and my private lending portfolio exceeded my full-time employment income. And it was at that point when I realized I just became financially independent. I didn't need to go to my 9 to 5 anymore, and I bought my freedom. So once I had stability and yield, I wanted something scalable. something I could grow without buying another property. And that's when I dove headfirst into the markets. Stocks, options, futures. At first, like everybody else, I was chasing home runs. I wanted that one big trade that would change everything. I'd wake up early, load up charts, and take every setup that looked good. I'd have monster days and absolutely disastrous days. And eventually I realized I wasn't trading charts. I was trading emotions. I was chasing validation, not process. If you're interested, I'll put a link to that video below. The real shift came when I discovered options selling. And that means covered calls, cash secured puts, and wheel strategies. They're not sexy, they're not flashy, but they are consistent. Now, while most people were gambling on out-of-the-money calls, I was selling the dream to them, collecting premium week after week. It wasn't an overnight success. It was systemized income. Now today, 90% of my portfolio is dedicated to those steady plays, option selling strategies that generate cash flow every single week. And the other 10%? Well, that's my sandbox. Day trading and intraday scalp setups. That keeps me sharp, keeps me in tune with market rhythm, but it doesn't control my emotions anymore. That's the power of skill. Not just learning a market, but mastering yourself. And that's rule number 3, buy skill, because skill compounds faster than capital. Once your income engines are running, real estate, private lending, trading, you start to think bigger. Not about earning more necessarily, but just multiplying what you already know. And that's where private equity came in for me. Private equity isn't about throwing money at random startups. It's about partnering with the right entrepreneurs. People with grit, people with track records, and people with business models that can scale. I look for businesses that already make money, not ones still searching for product market fit, but boring, proven models that just need capital or strategy to expand. Now, maybe it's a local construction company that needs new equipment, or a growing e-commerce brand that can double with better logistics. In return for providing capital, you take an ownership stake. It's not a loan, it's not a salary, but real equity. And now you're not trading time for money. You're trading insight for upside. Now, of course, returns vary. Sometimes you get 15% a year, sometimes a full multiple of your investment, if the deal is really, really good. But the real return is leverage. You're helping others build, and your money works alongside theirs. That's rule number 4. Buy ownership. Because when you own, you stop chasing and start creating. So eventually, I did stop chasing. When the bills were paid, the income streams were running, and the stress was pretty much gone, I realized the real goal wasn't wealth. It was time. Time to think, time to be with family, time to train, time to see the world and live life on your own terms. And that's what financial freedom really is. It looks different for everybody, but to me, it's the ability to design your days instead of renting them out. Real estate gave me stability, lending gave me yield, trading gave me skill, equity gave me ownership, and altogether, they bought me time. So that's rule number 5, buy time. Because at the end of the day, money is just the tool. Freedom is the goal. So here's the blueprint one last time. Buy stability, buy yield, buy skill, buy ownership, and buy time. It's not fast, it's not flashy, but it's real. It took me about 15 years, and it's how I went from surviving to being sovereign. Because freedom isn't about quitting your job tomorrow. It's about building systems that pay you, so one day you get to choose what you do and not what you have to do. That's the Viking way. We don't chase gold, we build kingdoms. Thanks for watching today's video. Remember that discipline is your sword and patience is your shield. And freedom, well, that's the battle worth fighting for. So if you want me to dive deeper into any part of this blueprint, whether it's real estate, private lending, trading, or private equity, leave a comment below. Tell me which step you want me to break down next, and I'll see you in the next video.